must work out. Don't be weak. Hey folks, this is the Maineprepper. Bill sent me that. Viking joke. Okay, before we get started talking about shoulders today, I wanted to cover a couple of things, and number one, I wanted to say thank you to everybody for making this channel such a success. Despite my speech impediments and issues from my injuries, everyone has been so supportive and so patient, and thank you. You're helping me to get back on the road to recovery, and I appreciate that. And on that note, thank you all of you that support the Wounded Warrior program and that support the soldiers that are here. There are folks that are in a lot worse shape than me. They've had it a lot tougher than I ever could have had. And they're in wheelchairs and they're amputees and whatnot. And on behalf of them, I wish to express to all of you my extreme thanks. You'll notice I wear Under Armour stuff all the time in my videos, and I am a big promoter of them, even though I'm not a sponsor or paid, certainly. But the reason being because they contribute a lot of money to the Wounded Warrior project, and they have my undying gratitude for that. There are other companies out there that do the same as well. It's just Under Armour struck me as being very prevalent in that role, and also I happen to like Under Armour gear. So what a nice segue. As we get into shoulders, remember, antagonistic training, okay? Pushing and pulling. And we'll talk about the specific exercises in a moment. And I'm going to show you how to do this with a couple of milk jugs full of water. Also, I'm going to show you a couple of other things, and one of them is that we need to have a fitness type lifestyle, and that means we need to be active. So on the days in between your workouts, you need to be out doing things. Now, the best way to do things and to stay fit and active is to do things you enjoy. If every day is a drudgery, you're not going to do it long, I guarantee you. I don't care how many results you are seeing. I don't care how much better you may feel physically. At the end of the day, when it's a pain and it's sorrow and it's misery, you're not going to do it. So, I have a number of sports that I like participating in. And you're going to find as you get more in shape, you'll start getting into more sports. Let me show you. I like to climb, and I first learned to climb back in the 70s, and it was part of my military duties in the Marine Corps at Pickle Meadows up in Bridgeport, California. And those of you that have been there, Marines, raise your hand, hoorah. And I like to civilian climb. It's a great sport, and here's my climbing shoes. And I have a friend, and she's a good climber, and she's getting me back interested in the sport. Now, when you go climbing, of course, one rule of thumb, never climb any higher than you're willing to fall. For me, that's worked out pretty good because I've taken a number of falls since I've started back because I don't have the balance that I did. And believe it or not, just missing pieces of these two fingers makes a huge difference in your holds. I can no longer run. And one of the things you're going to find in life, if you're broken and you're hurt, you can either use that as an excuse to sit around, or you can just say it's an obstacle and I need to find a way. Hopefully, we as preppers are in the latter category. There's always people that look for an excuse and a reason to not do anything. We need to be in the other category, which is, how do I find a way? I cannot run anymore. It's physically not possible with my knees. I can walk and I can run a little bit, but the pain the next day is so intense I can hardly walk. So, I cycle. And here's my SDP clip shoes. I got these used on eBay, and my bikes are set up with that. I think I have 5 bicycles now. And I love to cycle. It's great. I can get out here and put 20 miles in, and it takes me about a little over an hour to get that. And I get a good workout. And there's no pain in my joints from pounding. I love also to swim. I get in the pool, and I swim. I do TRX, and this is a present from a friend. Thank you, Lauren. These are awesome. I love TRX. I was already doing TRX. I had just really gotten into it and gotten started. I have a trainer that I go see. She's a good friend, and she's a marathon runner. It breaks my heart because she tells me about all the distances she's running. And I used to be a very serious runner, and I can't do it anymore. And so I listen to that, but it inspires me to try to do what I can. These are just a few of the things that I do. You may like playing basketball. You may want to play volleyball. You may be good at some other sport. Find something to do. And you're going to find as you get more in shape and you get stronger and you start looking better, you start to feel more confidence, you're going to go out and start doing more things and having a good time as you do it. Okay, so let me put my logo on on straight here, because if I'm going to represent, better look right. Okay, so we'll come back. We're going to talk about shoulders, and the shoulders are a complex and unique muscle group, and they comprise the deltoids and the trapezius muscle. Okay, folks, come right back. All right, folks, I have in front of me two pieces of exercise equipment. You may have seen this at your local gym, which is basically an incline adjustable bench, or you may have seen this, which is actually in your kitchen. And this is just a standard kitchen type chair. There's nothing special about it. It's just a chair. Now, what in the world am I talking about here for shoulders? Well, your shoulders are going to be doing a lot of work up over our heads. And as we're pushing things up over our head, it's going to be important for us to remember that our lower back can get strained and thrown out of joint. So the chair is going to be great because it's going to allow us to isolate our lower back and also focus on the actual exercises. What about weights? Now, some people don't want to go out and buy any weights or any equipment or anything, and that's fine. I understand if you don't have any money. You can use a pair of books. Now, these are very light books. This is the heaviest ones I've got around here. Mostly heavy reading. It's Thoreau. I don't think that's going to make me any more muscular than if I had another type of book. But these are good to show by way of example. Another thing you may want to consider is a set of adjustable barbells. For my birthday last year, because I've been a very serious lifter and very serious about my sports, I went out and bought, for my birthday, a very nice set of power blocks. And there's a video featuring those power blocks up there. And that's what I'll be using today for my demonstration. Something that's in between these books and those weights is going to be a couple of water jugs. A gallon of water weighs 8 pounds about. And so that's a good amount of weight, especially if you're doing slow and controlled movements, and especially for a beginner. If you're not able to lift a water jug, try a couple of books. And when we come back, I'm going to show you these exercises we're going to be set up. And I'm actually going to use this chair. We won't use this. I've got this for about $140. It's adjustable. It's very stable. It's by Best Fitness, I think, and it's been very durable. I'm very paranoid about benches. Some of the benches out there, they're real cheap, and you get on there with a couple of 100 pounds, and it's going to collapse, and then you're not going to have any confidence in your equipment anymore. This is not going to collapse. It's rock solid. So when we come back, we'll have a look at me exercising using this piece of high-tech fitness equipment. I'm going to be using my power blocks because I don't have a couple of milk jugs here, but these are right at about 10 pounds on these. And this is just to demonstrate with. I will use lighter weight to demonstrate. I'm not trying to show off. I'm trying to show good form. And the first thing is going to be an overhead press. Now, what you want to do is sit back against the back of the chair so you're taking the strain out of your lower back. Put your feet out in front of you where you've got support on the floor or where they're not slipping. All right? The key here is to be stable. And then you're going to swing the weights up to your shoulder and turn your hands out. And all you're going to do is push straight up and come back down. You don't need to come and hyperextend below your shoulders. Just come down even with the top of your shoulders and push up and down. This is just an overhead press. It's very simple. Okay, this is a pushing motion. And you want to be doing at least 6, but no more than 12 with this. And if you can do 12 reps and you're done and you got 12, well, you can really go up on the weight a bit more until you're able to do about 10 optimally. A pulling exercise that's very similar, at least in the sense that we're lifting the weights over our head, is going to be a seated fly. And I'm going to adjust the camera down just a little bit to show you these. All right, seated in our chair again. Okay, seated in our chair, we can take our weights, and if you're using milk jugs, it's great. Use a water jug or whatever full of water, or you can even pour some out. Just make sure you get a little bit of a balance. It's not the end of the world if you're a little off balance. You don't have to get a scale out or anything. All right, the seated fly is very easy. One of the things about the fly is that some people misunderstand. So what you need to do is remember you're trying to work your shoulders. That's your deltoids as well as your trapezius muscle. Your trapezius is, by the way, it's this muscle here that comes across here in its table-shaped muscle on your back. You should look it up on Google and look at an anatomy chart, and you'll see a little bit more of what we're trying to do. So you want to let your shoulders kind of hang down. Don't bend them forward. Just kind of let your shoulders hang straight down. Not too far back, not too far forward. Just straight down. Because what we're going for is full range of motion. And with your palms facing the floor and your elbows slightly bent. Don't try to lock your elbows out or you will strain your tendons in the wrong way. Elbows slightly bent, and we're going to lift up and back down. You notice I don't come up above, too much above the top plane, because once we get here, we're breaking the plane and we're actually doing a slightly different exercise. I will show you an exercise like that. So about this high is good. Notice it's my upper arms that are breaking the plane, not just bringing my forearms up, which would be probably right there. And we just want to do at least 6, but no more than 12 with this. 10 is the ideal number. An alternative to that is a wonderful exercise is to turn your hands like this with your palm facing forward, and you're going to do your repetition like this. You're going to lift up. Now, once you come up over your head, you're going to see that you're breaking the plane. So you want to try to keep continuous tension on these muscles as we go through this range. And again, up and back down. And up and back down. This is great because I can bend my arm in a little bit and I'm still not putting any strain on the tendons and on the forearm or the wrist, but I am putting the pressure on my shoulders where it needs to be. Those are 2 of the easiest flies to do out there. If you do the fly standing up, remember a lot of people jerk and they throw their back around. That's why I recommend we sit in a chair, because it isolates the shoulders, because we're just trying to work the shoulder. Now keep in mind that we do want our lower back strong, and we're going to do specific exercises that target that when we get to our abdominal exercises, believe it or not. Next we're going to look at a couple of other exercises which are going to be also pulling. The pushing exercises are going to be the overhead press, and there's going to be an incline push-up that we'll show you later. And the pulling exercises are going to be flies, such as we just did, as well as an upright row. And I'll show that in just a second. I'm not trying to be incognito. I'm simply going to show just the part of my body that you need to see, which is going to be just below my chin. And again, for the upright row, you can use your milk jugs again. In my case, I'm going to be using these weights. And all you want to do is bring your hands around and have your palms facing down against your legs. And you don't want to roll your shoulders forward. Sometimes people do this. They lean a little too far forward and they bend their back more than anything. You want to stand up as straight as you can. And this is very much, those of you that have worked on a farm, you'll recognize this. This is like lifting bales of hay. And you notice a lot of farm boys like me, we have big trapezius muscles. I think it's from stacking uncle's hay, mostly. And it's a very simple motion. You're going to come up like so, up to your chin and back down. And you're trying to feel it in the trapezius. The trapezius muscle is this muscle here that runs from your neck down. And in fact, it's a table-shaped muscle on your back. It's shaped like a diamond. And it goes up like so, and back down, and it comes down. I can't contort my back enough to show you, but it is a trapezius muscle called that because it's Latin for table-shaped muscle. And again, let me show this from the side. We take the weight like so, rest it on the front of our legs, and we lift up. And as I'm lifting up, you'll notice I'm not hunching forward, nor am I leaning back too much. I'm trying to keep my body straight up and down as I lift, like so, okay? And you'll notice that my deltoids, my shoulder muscles, engage when I do this exercise. I'm showing this a little bit more because this one's a very hard one to master for people. They tend to either lean too far forward or lean too far back, and they're pulling with their arms. You really want to feel it up here in this muscle. That's where you want to feel it. So the great thing is when you come to the bottom, let it hang and then engage first with the trapezius, almost like you're shrugging and then pulling up, all right? We're trying to really engage that table-shaped muscle when we do this. Okay, so that is upright row. And then the final one is going to be an incline type of push-up. And I'll show you an interesting technique on that that's going to be, I think, helpful. There are some other shoulder exercises that we'll throw in later on, and there are some gymnastic type things. I worked out with a fellow that was a gymnast for a while, and he showed me some really great shoulder exercises, and some of them are very advanced. You don't want to try them if you're new, because you will tear your shoulder muscles out of joint. Okay, so we'll go and look at some incline push-ups. We're going to have to go get a special piece of equipment, i.e. my dresser. We'll do these using my desk first. The dresser's a little bit advanced, but your desk may work. What you're wanting to do is get your feet elevated on something. Now you'll see people doing handstand push-ups against the wall. That's great. That's actually working the shoulder. It's a variation of doing an overhead press. It's something you can do if you don't have any equipment around. So I'm going to show this with my feet on the desk, but I want you to watch how I set my feet on this desk here. When I put my feet up, I don't just bend my toes, I actually hang my toes over the edge. Now, if this is too hard for you, go ahead and just put your feet up normally. But I like to hang my toes on here when I do this. And there's a couple of reasons why. When I'm pushing up, my toes can actually help me to pull myself up. If I just hang, I can also scoot myself back, and I can minimize the amount of angle on the shoulders. Obviously, we want to have a pretty good angle going on our shoulders, because that's going to put the exercise more into the shoulder and a little bit less on the pectoral muscle. So if you put your feet up, the higher the angle you get your feet up on the wall, on the tree, or whatever else, the better off you're going to be, the more you're going to be working your shoulders. And really, the push-up is a great exercise. I recommend highly that you do the push-up a lot and incorporate it into every workout. Of course, it's in there several times. But remember, when we're doing push-ups already for our chest, we want to try to target the shoulders. So getting that angle up with your feet is going to be most important. All right, this has been a compilation of different shoulder exercises. You need to mix them up yourself. Do what you can with what you have, where you are. And remember, 6 repetitions minimum, 12 maximum, and that's it. If you can do 12, you want to be able to put more weight on. If you can't do at least 6, you have too much weight. All right, folks, this has been the Maineprepper. The next time we come back, we're going to talk about legs, and then we'll talk about abdominals.